And welcome to a new series that we've got. We'll be learning JavaScript together. There'll be more further iterations to this series, and we'll be covering quite a lot. But this is officially the start of our technical series. I'll just switch onto the terminal. What I will be doing is posting all of this code on GitHub as well, so that's available for all of you to look back on alongside all of these videos. But what we're going to learn today is variables in JavaScript. So without further ado, we can actually get started. So first of all, thanks for tuning in. Let's have a look at what a variable is first, right? To put it really, really simply, a variable is like a storage box, right? Where you'd go in and you can store data, like numbers or text or even complex data. So there's multiple ways that we can do this inside of JavaScript. Let's have a look at the old way that we used to declare a variable, and that is with var. So you can do var and you can say name and equals, and you can do like a double string here. As you can see, it's giving us the type that we've got here, and I can just put ras. Right, so now I've written that, and I can go into the next line. You can see here that I've now declared a variable called name, which is equal to the name ras here, or the word ras as an example. So first thing that we need to understand is that var, while you might see it in some legacy code bases, it is the old way of declaring variables in JavaScript. But what we use now is let and const. So we will look at how we use those as well. So firstly, this is a way that you can declare a variable. But another way that you can declare a variable here is also using the let keyword that we just spoke about a second ago. So let's do that. Bear in mind that each variable that you sort of have should have a unique name. So I can't declare another variable called name again, right? Because it just won't work. It will just try and overwrite the variable. It won't accept it. So we'll do name2 as an example. And we can also keep that equal to ras again. So now we've got another variable. And let's do it another third way using const. And we'll explain a little bit. We'll just accept this suggestion. So name3, and it's also equal to ras. Now we've got var, we've got let, and we've got const. So now we know that this is the old way of declaring a variable. Yeah, so we've covered that. We understand that. Now what is let, what is const is probably what you're thinking right now. So let will allow you to overwrite or rewrite a particular variable that you have. Let me give you an example, right? So now we've got let name2 equals ras. So one of the ways that we can view what's inside of a variable is by using console.log. So you might have seen that, or maybe in Python you've seen like print. It's the same kind of concept. It's just different syntax here. So we'll just do console.log name2, and you can see that it's ras here. And what we're also trying to do is we'll just try and overwrite name2. So I'll just write name2, and then is equal to, and we'll just do James as an example. And we'll just copy that console log again. And we'll put that here, and we'll just see what's output. So I'm going to run the current file. And the first thing we can see is that the name is ras. And now where we've overwritten that variable, we printed it again, and we can see that it's now James. That's quite interesting, right? So as you can see, if you know about the concepts of mutability or immutability, basically means that let allows the variable to be mutable, which means that we can go ahead and change and update that variable. So you're probably now thinking, I'm guessing that we can't update const. And you're right. You're absolutely right. We can't, unfortunately, and I can just show you now. So we're going to console log that name3 here. And now we will update it to Alan. And we'll try and console log again. Let's see if there's any errors that we get. So let's go ahead and run this file. And as you can see, nothing's been printed out. And you'll see in the error here, assignment, type error, assignment to a constant variable. So you cannot go ahead and update. And as you can see, the ID that I'm using right now is throwing a warning as well. Attempt to assign to a const or read-only variable. So const basically means that it's read-only. You cannot go ahead and update it. So yeah, that is what we need to know about var, let, and const, right? That is the key difference. All right, so now that we've seen how to create variables in JavaScript, let's have a little look at data types. So as you can see above here, I was using double quotes and I was entering the name Raz, and you can see here that the IDE is quite intelligent, and I'll notice that these double quotes mean that I'm using a string. What is a string, right? What does it mean? All right, so as you can probably imagine, a string is just denoted as text, right? So any kind of text that you would have, you put it in double quotes, and that would be considered a string. Could be a name, could be email, could be address, could be anything, right? So that is what a string is. And the way that you would normally set a string in JavaScript, so for example, we'll go ahead and go let, and we'll go last name. Now we won't go for Raz as a last name, but we'll say Smith as an example, right? And so let's say you have a variable in JavaScript and you want to check what is the type of this variable, right? So you can go ahead and go console.log, and we have this function that we've got available, and it's called type of. So how you do that is you go type of space, and now you want to put in the name of that variable, right? So last name, as I've typed in here. Now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we will run this file. And as you can see, you've got Raz James that we've covered above. And here we've got string. So the type of last name is string. If you are using IntelliJ, then it'll give you the type of that variable directly available. You don't necessarily need to do this, but it's good to know that you have this functionality available. If you're using a different IDE, if you're using VS Code, it doesn't matter, right? You can always check. So that is what a string is, right? The other thing that we have is called number. So you might be aware from other sort of languages where you have integer or double or float. But in JavaScript, we have number. So how you declare that is we can go let, and we can go for age, and we can say 28 as an example, right? So we're not using double quotes here. And we just write the particular number that we have. And you can see here that as soon as we type in 28, it's showing you that the type of this is number. And we'll just confirm that as well. We have the console log here. And what we'll do is we'll do type of. And we'll go ahead and run this file. And as you can see here, it's confirming to us that it is a number. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, what about like decimals? Will it accept decimals? Well, we'll try that now. So we'll change this age to 28.25. You can see here that the ID is still giving us a number, but we'll just confirm that by running the application. And as you can see here, it's still taken as a number. So regardless of using decimals or like an actual just normal integer here, it will be taken as a type of number. So we've got a few more that we're going to cover, and the next one will be a boolean. So say for example, like are you, so let's say is subscribed. So if I wanted to check if someone is subscribed to my channel, so for example, if you're watching right now, I think the vast majority of people aren't subscribed, so I'll put saying false as an example, right? So that's what a boolean is. A boolean can accept two values. It's true and false, right? So those two values can define like a particular variable that you might have. A simplistic way of doing it, right? Rather than having a string. So in this example, if I wanted to check if something is true or not, then I can use a boolean as a data type. And as you can see, right, if a user or someone who's watching my video isn't subscribed, then I'll assign this false value to them. And again, we can go ahead and confirm that by running our application. And we'll go ahead and run. And as you can see, he's giving us a type of boolean, which is excellent, right? There are two more that I feel that aren't really covered so much out there, and I think a lot of people are a little bit confused when it comes to them. So let me just define a variable here, and I'm just going to use a let keyword, so if we want to update it, we can. And let's call it, let's just do let hello. And just if you want to define a variable and not give it anything, you can just write the variable name, then just click enter. Now what we want to do is we just want to check what the type of that is, knowing full well that we haven't given it any value, right? We haven't given it like any quotes or numbers or Boolean, nothing, right? So what is the type of this? So let's try and find out. So we're going to write type of, just ignore the auto-completion. It is obviously not giving me the correct one. So I'm just going to type in type of hello. So I just want you to pause and just think, what will be the type of this variable, knowing full well that there isn't any type given at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and run the file. And as you can see here, we're getting a type of undefined. This is something that might come up quite a lot, particularly if you're building a large application and you've forgotten to assign a value to a variable. You need to be aware of what this is and what this means. So now you know that if it's not assigned, you'll get undefined. So if you do see undefined and any kind of like errors or warnings or anything that you might get, now you understand what that means. And then there's another really, really important value. Sometimes this gets set to particular values or maybe by default. And that is, so and we go empty. I'm just going to assign it to null. Right, and this is what we call a null. Okay, so basically, what we're doing here is we are setting a variable to null type. So most of the time, this will get set by developers so that a value has a null value by default. And there'll be many reasons for that, right? And it'll be down to each individual developer. But when you are doing computation on it, you're running some if statements or you're trying to grab the value, you might face a null pointer exception. So it's good for you to know what a null value is, essentially an empty value that's been set on purpose, and how you can go ahead and combat that and make sure that you are updating it. So if you get a null pointer exception, now you know there might be a value that's set to null. So yeah, hopefully that is useful to you all. What I'll do is I'll annotate this and upload to GitHub, and there'll be there'll be a link in the video description. So if you have any feedback, do let me know. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully this helps, and we'll be covering more stuff later on as part of this series. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you in the next one.